We are going to have a short introduction to testing. We are going to have more about testing later on. Right now I present only the information that is required for you to conduct your lessons or your assignments. Let us have a look at an example, one of the examples of a waterfall model. Waterfall model was presented on lecture 1. As you can see, you have several phases. What is typical for this waterfall model is that if you look here at the latter phases, they deal with testing. And there have come many critique on this waterfall model. Among them is that testing comes too late. So one of the important things is that you write tests as soon as possible, and you test the system or whatever you have of the system as soon as possible. So how have the community dealt with this? Well, they have actually reshaped this waterfall model, rotated part of it with 90 degrees, and here what we have is that they have created a form of V model, a form of waterfall model that is now called the V model. You see it looks like a V. Yeah? So here is the central point. And this is this part which is the breaking point at the unit code and test. What does it mean? It's not a full model, because what happens in between is that as soon as you have written a requirement specification, this phase does not result only in requirement specification, but also it results in acceptance test plan. And system specification and system design, they result in system integration test plan. And if you have subsystems, you can create detailed designs of these subsystems, and then you have a subsystem integration plan. So you create these things. Some of these plans or some of these tests are used already at the beginning to test requirements, to test design. And here, when you code, you write your own test because you are a developer. Then, while you conduct integration tests and system integration tests and acceptance tests, then you use these test plans and test cases that you have defined earlier on. So, okay, what do we need to know? What we need to know right now is what do we document when we test. So here we have test plans. Test plans contain a lot of information. Among them they include test procedures describing what needs to be done to test one functionality. One functionality may be tested with several test cases. So one test case is also must be also specified. Let us start with test cases. Test cases include test case ID, list of modules that you test, what input you provide, what output you provide. Are there any environmental needs? Environmental needs may be different. It may be a specific technological environment, or it may be also that tests must be provided in outside in a specific temperature. You may have intercase dependencies. Which test cases does this test case depend on? And you may also specify special procedural needs. What kinds of procedures does it need to be included? Here we have test procedures. So these include a number of test cases. So when you run a test procedure, it specifies which test cases are to be used and in what order. So you have test procedure, list of test cases. You may provide special requirements like tester skills. Some testing requires highly skilled professionals. Some tester skills, well, some testers don't need any skills at all. They just follow the test cases, and then they write whether the output or input, whether the output was okay. Then you may have procedural steps like how to log the results of the testing, how to start the system, how to measure the results, how to shut down the system, how to restart it, how to stop it, how to react to various problems. So as I've mentioned, testing procedures are parts of test plans, and test plans can be quite heavy. You describe the functionality that you are testing, you plan, you have different milestones and you schedule for testing, you provide what resources are needed, what type of materials are needed, provide different test conditions. You outline the process. Please remember that the process must be at least specified. What does it look like when you conduct the testing? You provide evaluation criteria. How do you evaluate, for instance, that 97% of all the test cases have been performed and have been successful? And of course you provide a list of test procedures. So this is the information that you need right now, because during one of the assignments you will define test cases.